Hi quilters, I'm Joyce Grandy with Material Girls of Florida, and this video is about making continuous prairie points, 44 inches, all at once, all connected without the stencil. So I have two other videos out there about doing these points with the stencil, but this time we're not going to use it and we're still going to make them all connected. So let's start doing that. So this is how we're going to make 44 inches of prairie points all at once and all connected. Because we're making 3-inch prairie points, we start with a 6-inch wide strip of fabric. It should be the width of the bolt, but I'm working small here because I don't have enough room to get it on camera. So I took that 6-inch strip, folded it in half and ironed it to get a nice crease in the middle. And now I'm going to take a ruler and a marker. I'm using a permanent marker. You can use anything you're comfortable with. I know that these marks won't show, so I'm not worried about it, but I know it's scary to use a permanent marker sometime. So I'm lining up 3 inches on the end. I did a nice straight cut. Sorry, I should have said that first. A nice straight cut, cleared up the selvage. Now I'm going to mark the 3-inch box. So the 3-inch line is laying on the crease that I ironed, and then I'm just going to take my marker and mark 3 inches. Slide it over, line it up, mark 3 inches. Slide it over, line it up, mark 3 inches. All the ways down the strip, just on the top. Then for the bottom, I'm going to come in 1.5 inches on that bottom row. So the top one is 3. This bottom one is 1.5 inches, and we're going to cut that off later. So from that 1.5 inches, now we go back to the 3 and draw a line, 3 and draw a line, and so on. This little edge here we're going to cut off. We just want 3-inch squares throughout the whole strip. So I'll take this now and cut it off. My sharp scissors, just cut it there on the line we drew, and then across that ironed crease. Now it's gone. Okay, so it's gone, and actually I have underneath here one already done, already cut. Now one of my tip for you is, if you have to make a lot of these, don't bother marking and cutting them one at a time. Stack up some other 6-inch wide strips underneath, and you should be able to cut through, oh gosh, at least 2 or 3 layers pretty easily. Now, I want you to see here, I purposely messed up. You see how lousy that cut is? It doesn't look too nice, but that's okay. We're going to work with it. And now we're going to use some glue. I use Elmer's glue and my glue tips. If you've seen me anywhere, you know that in my booth it shows I sell these glue tips. They fit either a 4-ounce or a 6-ounce bottle of Elmer's, and this happens to be the 4-ounce. You can get it in Publix, for Pete's sake. And this tip, if it got clogged, it comes apart in 4 pieces, and you would just put it in a cup of water, let it dissolve, and put it back together again to keep on using it. But I will say I have not had one get clogged yet, but it would be easy to fix. So here's the bottle with the cap off, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue 1 row at a time. I'm going to put a tiny dot of glue. I'm going to try to get this. Let me see, where's the camera? I want you to see see how little that dot of glue is. Let me put it down, see if that helps. Teeny tiny dot of glue, teeny tiny dot of glue, and I'm putting it in the same corner, the right hand corner. And so for me, this would be the bottom right hand corner. So now I'm going to take my iron, I'm going to fold this over, and I'm working on an ironing board surface. This polka dot fabric you see is my ironing surface. Hit it with the iron, go to the next one, same thing, hit it with the iron. I'm just trying to dry the glue. I'm not like worried about what I'm pressing or what's going on other than drying the glue. And so you just go along in the whole row and you do that, right? Oops, I see that? The glue didn't dry. I didn't give it enough time. That's okay. There we go. And fold and go. This is my Olicio iron, boy. It's an investment, but I gotta say, I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. The hardest thing is getting used to leaving it down because it's gonna stand up by itself. And that took a while for me to get used to doing. Okay, so there's that top row. So we half glued all the ways down, and now we're going to go back on the opposite end, right over here, right here, another dot of glue, and you can probably see that a little bit better because it's darker. Dot of glue, dot of glue, dot of glue, all the ways down the strip. And like I said, you'd be doing a 44-inch strip of fabric. So now this needs a little bit more heat because I'm going through more layers. Okay, so usually I just let it sit there, go on to the next, fold it over, go on to the next, fold it over, go on to the next, and we're almost done with this top row. And then we're going to work on the bottom row. There we go. Okay, so that top row is all done. So that's half of our points. And now we would go through and do the same thing. You could either work upside down. The only thing you have to worry about is, you see how this is open, the opening is going that way. You have to figure out which fold goes first. If I did it this way and I put them together, oh no, that's not right. That's how I tell, just starting over and doing that and knowing which way to do the first one. You could flip it over like this if you're right-handed or can't work or can't think upside down. It really doesn't matter. All you have to think about is, now which way am I going first? This way? Nope, that's wrong. I want to go this way first. So that's the only reminder I need. This way, dot, 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 whoops, dot, dot, dot. Now, remember, this is my big messy one over here. So, whoops, there we go. So let me fold this over, hit it with the iron. Fold this one over. Now this is the one that's not going to reach the way you think it's going to reach because it wasn't cut straight, but it's going to be fine. Fold it over, hit it with the iron. Fold it over, hit it with the iron. Fold it over, hit it with the iron, and the last one to fold over and hit it with the iron. And then we go back and do the same thing. Move that out of the way. And here we go. Dot of glue, dot of glue, dot of glue, 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 and glue. Same thing. Fold it over and hit it with the iron. A little bit more heat because it has extra layers to go through. Hit it with the iron. I have steam on. I usually do have steam on. It really doesn't matter. Whoops, I missed the spot. It really doesn't matter if you use steam or not. Whatever you like to do. I'm a steamer, so for me, it's almost always on. And last one. Okay, so now imagine this was the width of the fabric. You would have 44 inches of these all together. Depending on how you're going to use it is how you're going to fold it. For the quilt, for a quilt, to use it inside the border, we would fold it with the raw edges out. And this is what I mean by the raw edges out. All those raw edges are together. So that when you, and let me press it while we're talking, and you want to do it that way because when you sew it into a seam on a quilt, you want to be sure, you want to see all those raw edges. You want to be sure you catch them in that seam allowance. So that's why you fold them with the raw edges out. But some of my patterns, like the purse pattern or the pillow pattern, they're put on a background fabric. So the opposite happens. I fold them with the raw edges in and then just top stitch them down. And that would make more sense if you saw the pattern, I think. Then listen, oops, there we go. I think a shot of steam did it. Now some people go through and they do a little basting stitch on the machine after this. I never do. And that's because I often will change out one color, just one color in this whole strip. Let's say, for example, on my wreath pattern, I had little red points every now and then. So to do that, I just fold, this is a 3-inch square, it's always 3 inches, fold it in half, fold it in half again, hit it with the iron, and here's how I would insert that red. I'm going to cut one of these out. I'm going to cut across that seam right there. So let's do this one. It's my scissors, cut across. So that's the one I'm not going to use. These really aren't connected anymore. That's like connected by a thread. And then I would take some glue, remember our glue, put some glue just across there and make sure I'm going the right direction, there we go, and just glue that in. Put it with the iron to dry it. So now when you go to use that, let it dry, don't be in a rush like I am. When you go to use that, you have that one little different color sticking up every now and then. And I do that a lot when I use Prairie points in quilts or in projects. So this is an alternative. If you don't have the stencil, this is the way to do continuous Prairie points. So I hope that helps.